Hey, welcome back to the Retail Initiative podcast. I'm really excited for this one. I have Tiffany and Suzanne from Infinity Raine. How's it going? It's so good to have you.
Good. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. So you guys have a really cool store and you started to focus on online. I'd love to get into both of those. So tell us first off, tell us about Infinity Raine, what kind of store it is, who you serve, all of that good stuff.
Okay. You want it?
It's a women's boutique, and I say boutique, we kind of want to make ourselves more of a brand than a boutique, so we're working on that. But we sell women's clothing, accessories, shoes. We do have some gifts in the store because, we are open to the downtown area, so lots of gifts are fun for them. So basically just your awesome boutique that your small towns have.
For sure. We've had a lot of those on the podcast. How long have you been open?
We opened at our current location in 2020 during the pandemic.
That's good timing.
We had a previous location that the area actually got shut down because of the pandemic. And thank the Lord that we had already purchased our downtown building. So during the pandemic, we were able to renovate the whole thing while everything was shut down. And then when things were lifted, we opened right up. So 2017 is when we started Infinity Raine. So we've had some sort of store pretty much since then.
Yeah. So what gave you the idea to all right, let's actually do this thing? I think a lot of people dream of starting a retail business, but you both actually did it. Where did the idea come from, and what was it that you actually pulled the trigger?
Well, we did actually. It's funny because, as kids, we both we were little entrepreneurs, both of us, because we would do garage sales and all kinds of different things. But how we met on Poshmark, the app, and we both had closets on there, and we both had successful boutiques, and we just met at a Posh party one time and got together. And I was like, "Hey, do you want to start our business together?" And that's kind of what we did.
We actually started online instead of the other way around. So we started on Poshmark and had our boutiques, but we also started our brand, a wholesale brand on Poshmark for Infinity Raine.
Do not recommend wholesale.
Decided that wasn't for us. And so we kind of took the steps to get off of Poshmark because we didn't want all of our eggs in that basket, so to speak.
Yeah, which was a good thing because they had kind of restructured their app a little bit, so it was definitely a sign for us to get off of there and start. That's kind of when we started our e-commerce our first e-commerce website before we met you guys, and y'all changed it and saved our lives. But but we did what? 2017, our first building, we had just our store, just mainly our inventory. And then we got the opportunity to go out and open our first store. And then, of course, like she said, it got closed down, the pandemic or whatever. But 2020, we renovated a store by ourselves, 4 months, me, her, our husbands. We worked
every day,
literally every day for probably 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, to get this open, the store open.
Oh my gosh.
We were able to open it it was during the pandemic, but we did it. Lots of blood, sweat, tears, and
that is incredible.
Insanity, but
so if you could go back to 2017, that version of you, and give yourself a piece of advice, what would you say in those early years? Man, I really wish we had either done this differently or focused on this instead of this.
Well, I wish we were really big on Poshmark. We were the top sellers on Poshmark and at the time, and we didn't focus enough on our social, building our platform there, because we're very not, it's hard for us.
We're kind of introverted, believe it or not. Most people don't think that, but we really are introverted.
So if we could have gone back and really worked on building our community on our socials to begin with, we would be that much further along now. So
because we would have had those online shoppers, come from Posh to our own website, and a lot of people didn't follow us. I mean, we did have some, people follow us, but we would have had a lot more, because we have over 1 million followers between the two of us on Poshmark that are just kind of sitting there. So
yeah, gosh, that's so hard.
It's service for us, but
yeah, because when you're using another channel that is not controlled by you, and I think that's something I see all the time, whether it be something like Poshmark or Etsy. At the end of the day, they're Poshmark's customer. They are Etsy's customer.
Yes.
They're not yours.
Yes.
And so, as I know now, like retention and return customer is such a big piece. And if you can't control that, it's really challenging to be able to scale. So one of the things you said earlier that I'd love to ask about is that you're focused on becoming a brand. That you said you were a boutique, and but we're really focused on becoming a brand, which I love. Tell me more, what do you mean by that?
Well, we would love to have our own line. We did it before, we sold wholesale before, but it's a lot of money, because you have to cut so many of the same style. But there's some things that we would really like to focus on, being more American brand, and also
made in USA.
Yeah, made in USA, and then have some sustainable cotton, like a lounge line or something to start out with maybe. But that's just something that we've kind of set our sights on working towards. We have actually a line coming in January that we met a lady at market that it's all organic cotton, and it's just beautifully made. And so we might try to hit her up and see if she'd want to partner on something. But
that's amazing.
We'll see how that goes, how that comes in, and how people respond to it, and then kind of go from there.
Yeah. Okay. So you started on Poshmark doing mostly online, and then you open a store. At that point, were you also on your own website when you opened your storefront?
Okay, so we actually did start our own website. We were I was gonna do Shopify, and I was no, we need some help. And so we hired these men that did not have our vision, spent way too much money on it. We tried it for maybe half a year.
Yeah.
It just was not getting, it was terrible. It never worked right. And so I was well, that was, $6,000 down the drain. We're going to, just get on Shopify and build our own. And
yeah. Was it a local guy?
Do what?
Was it a local company?
Yes. Yeah, it was Plano, Dallas area.
Yeah, it was Frisco.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many retailers I talk to that's the story, that there's always a local guy that'll build your website, do all this stuff. But then I go and look at their sites, and it's yes, they've done a clothing store, but then they're also doing law firms and skincare places. Yeah. And it's
or websites that have just product base of 5 different products.
Or just information. It was on WordPress. So it wasn't, it didn't talk to anything. It didn't talk to it tried to talk to our inventory system, but it was not good, so I would strongly suggest getting on something that has built-in features that work together. It just makes your life a whole lot easier.
Yeah, we spent a lot of money, and then when they didn't work out, we found someone else, and they basically did the same thing. So when we found you guys, it was literally if we wouldn't have gone to that Manifest workshop, we wouldn't have met y'all, and we wouldn't have had that. I don't know, we just felt safe. We felt like y'all knew what y'all were doing, because Ruthie Grace, they're amazing, and we saw what y'all had done for them. So we're just so thankful that we used y'all, because it's literally changed our whole business over the last 7 months, 8 months. So,
well, I certainly do appreciate that. And a lot of the reason why I was asking that question is I was curious how your online sales were doing, because even let's just assume you were on all the right tools and all of that stuff. A lot of times what I see is when brands start online, then they open their stores, that their online sales tend to go down and understandably, because they're focused on the storefront. So as you were kind of focused on the store, trying these things, what was it that made you really want to take the leap to say, okay, let's really get this online side and our own online side, not on another channel. Like, what was it that made you want to do that in the beginning?
Well, I think growth. We wanted to grow, because having a storefront, you just never know. Like the weather could be bad for a month and your sales slow down. So we really wanted something to just kind of supplement that income of what we weren't making in the store. But of course, our store is doing better now. And then, of course, since y'all changed over to y'all, it's our sales.
We've doubled our online sales since last year.
Yeah,
so
doubled.
So we're just
doubled.
So I mean, we're just like you were on that trajectory to just keep building that online, and of course our in-store presence. Our town is growing, so that's helpful too. But it's just better to have your online and your in-store and building that community in both of those.
Yeah, and I do tend to see that when the online side is growing, when you are also focused on, like when you're really focused on both, it does tend to be a rising tide lifts all ships situation. I rarely see online taking off and the storefront just flat. So what do you think has been the big contributors? Like, why has online grown? And look, I'm so grateful that we got to work with you and help set up your site, teach you a lot of these strategic pieces. But take credit, like you two have put a ton of work into this. And so of the things that you've been working in, like what do you think's really contributed to that online growth?
Our ads are doing well.
Y'all helping us with the Facebook ads and stuff has really taken off.
We've started figuring out what's working with those ads. I think it's a lot of just trial and error, but once we kind of narrow down what's working for us, it's just a matter of us taking the time to, do those reels and do those posts that we can promote online. So
and we've been really trying to hone in on our social media too. By doing those reels and trying to do more educational or more entertaining stuff. I mean, I look like a fool most of the time out there, but it is what it is.
Sometimes you got it.
You feel stupid. I'm 48 years old and I'm out there like, oh, hey, dancing. And, you feel silly, but we've just kind of embraced it a little bit more than before. And we know that it's working. So we're just trying to do things that we've needed to do for the past 7 years that we didn't do. And now we're doing them and it's all kind of working together now.
Yeah. Yeah. So what was it that made you, because I think we all have a list of things that we know we should be doing, but then we aren't doing them. Whether it's personally, like in our health or in our businesses, what was it that made you be like, okay, let's actually do this thing? Like if we're going to do it, let's go all in and start doing these pieces. What was it that finally made you take that leap?
I mean, we really just wanted to work on meeting some of our goals. Our team has been a big help, implementing structure and then just trying to give them an opportunity to grow with us, giving them tasks that teach them and they learn. And so it's not just us all the time doing everything, because I don't feel like we're ever going to grow if we don't build that foundation of, okay, we have the store manager and now we're going to have a social media coordinator and, someone to help us along the way. And we're still in that process of teaching and making sure everybody's in their place that they need to be. But I think that's really helped us kind of take the pressure off of us just a little bit. And
definitely.
Yes,
And things change all the time too, like on a dime, they'll change and you have to pivot. And especially like our manager, she got another job and she was gone for 2.5 months and she got an amazing job, but it wasn't the job that she really ended up liking. And we were blessed and basically begged her to come back. And we just sweetened the deal. We made her part, get a little bit of our company. And that's kind of what you have to do to keep on keeping on. Keeping good employees is give them a little stake in it, because then they have more, they want to put more into it as well if they've, got something to look forward to in the future. So we've kind of just broke down those walls and I don't know, just
We have fun with it. I mean, our team is like our family. I'm sure you're the same way. I mean, and we try to make the reels fun and the social fun. It does get a little overwhelming sometimes, because especially this time of year when we have event after event after event, and then you're still trying to keep your daily posts going.
Yes.
But I'm just like, it'll be better after December.
Well, I've got bags under my eyes that you can sleep in.
Yeah.
But,
So you talked about structure and the things that you're doing with teaching your team. Like, what kind of things have been helpful for you in getting that going? So I think that's an area that a lot of retailers struggle. What has helped you with building a team and developing them to really take a lot of these things off your plate?
Well, honestly, I don't always get on the calls every week, but when I'm on my treadmill, I'm watching the calls for your retail program. But getting on that seasonal structure theory, I've gone through that with the girls and kind of like, okay, this is what you need to follow so that, you're making sure we're sending these emails and getting this social content. So it kind of gives us a platform or a starting point each week to try to, plan out a couple weeks worth of things. And that way we all are on the same page as to what's going on and tasking out certain things. So it's not on one person to do everything.
And kind of putting people where they kind of thrive, because, a lot of us have, we're chasing squirrels all the time, with our ADHD. So just trying to get people that are more task oriented, do more task stuff. People that are really good out on the floor, get out on the floor. Because we want everybody to be happy too. You don't want to work in a miserable, environment that you're not happy.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, I get that. So one thing I'm curious about, and I hope it's okay for us to go here, but you're it's been a while since I've had a partnership that I've talked to, which comes with a lot of awesome things. And it also comes with some challenges. Owning a business with someone, I mean, it's like marriage in so many ways. First off, like, what's been great for you about like having a business partner and owning a business together? What's gone really well for you over the last few years?
Well, I mean, we have so much fun. Like we're best friends. So, I mean, like let's put it this way. If our business was in a situation, I'd be like, bye business, because I would keep my best friend. But like we've learned to have fun with stuff. So we never really feel like we're working. I mean, we do get stressed out and we're able to kind of talk to each other, and it does help having somebody that you can kind of
lean on
and not have freak out moments, because we're like, okay, it's going to be okay. Or she'll do that to me. But, just having just open communication and being honest and not getting upset if somebody has an idea or not, we talk about everything. We don't, say no, or get the ego. You got to let that ego go. The ego has got to go bye-bye. So.
And I think it's a God thing. God brought Tiffany into my life and vice versa, because I know a lot of partnerships don't work out, but our personalities, like, she's just like my husband and I'm just like her husband. Like really, we already know how to deal with each other. So, does that make sense?
It's very true.
Yes, it makes sense.
Yeah, that's true. Her and my husband are very much the engineering type brains, and then me and her husband are more the emotional side brains. So it just works out. It works out good.
Does her husband chase squirrels like you do?
No, I don't know. Does he have?
He's a one thing at a time kind of person.
Yeah.
Like he gets frustrated. Like he'll be in the kitchen trying to do stuff, and I'm in there multitasking and everything, and he'll like freak out because this is overflowing over here. It's just his brain's not like to where he can concentrate on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I can't multitask to save my life.
Yeah. I used to could, but not anymore. But it's just getting harder the older I get. But
sure. And so what were some of the challenges of a partnership that hopefully you've worked past or continue to work past? Like what part's been a little more challenging than other things?
I don't know.
I mean, I think we've always had to work on communicating with each other. Like I'm not a good communicator. I've gotten better. But like I very internalize everything, and like if something's wrong, I just get to work and try to fix it myself.
Yeah.
And she's like, Suzanne, you need to tell me, like what's going on. But
I'm very
then I just let it all out eventually.
Yeah. And then it's like, I'm like, what's wrong with you, girl? No, it's not like that. But I'm very much a vocal person. I mean, my feelings. Like I just let it all out. So,
Yes.
So it works. So I try to pull that out of her, and then she tries to pull stuff out of me. So
yeah, that's great. So to wrap up, if a retailer called you and it's someone that you genuinely wanted to help, and they were like, hey, if you were to have me focus on one thing, like if I really want to grow, this is what you should focus on. What would you say to that retailer who's really looking to take their business to the next level? What piece of advice would you give?
Run. Not I'm kidding.
No.
I'm kidding.
I mean, they just need to be consistent, get a good team, whether it's if they don't have the money for a team, they still can get a banker and, like some friends to support them, and just even online, just help support them. But just being consistent, getting up and doing the work. And
consistency is number one, which we struggled with. We still struggle with, but we're way better at. But consistency, pivoting, stop being so stuck. If something's not working, like you've got to change it up. You can't just be like, no, this is the hill I'm dying on. You cannot do that because you will fail. Like if we wouldn't have pivoted all the times we've done, I mean, we would have we wouldn't be where we are right now. Yeah. And like honing in on who your customer is. I mean, when we first opened the store, we had home goods. We had, baby stuff. We had some men's stuff,
everything. And it was like, this is too much.
Yeah.
We need to just like narrow it down and focus on what's really our brand.
Yes. And figuring it out. And also just being patient with yourselves, because there's so many people that are just, they want it right now. Well, we're 7 years in, and I mean, it's a long journey, but it's a good journey if you're willing to just put the time in and, have a couple of little breakdowns, but get back up and keep on trucking on. So.
Absolutely. I love it. Okay. So consistency, honing in on your customer, not trying to be all things to all people. I think it's brilliant advice. And be willing to pivot. Not like, I think sometimes what as entrepreneurs is like we take things on as an identity where we're all of a sudden it's like, well, no, we are a men's, women's, gift, kid and home store. And that's my identity versus what do I do best and how can I go all in on this thing that I do best and let your identity shift. There's nothing about your business that can't change, and you both have done that incredibly well. All right. Well, it was so good to have you on. I loved getting to learn about the business. We've worked together, but a lot of this I didn't know. So it was so much fun. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Awesome. Oh, and by the way, if people do want to find you, whether it's to visit your store, to shop with you, or just follow you on Instagram, where can people find you?
All right. Well, online, it's Infinity Raine, and that ends with a E.com. And then we're in Gainesville, Texas. If you're ever up in Gainesville, Texas, we're right on the square. And then our Instagram is Infinity Raine Official, and we're just Infinity Raine on Facebook. So.
Awesome. Well, again, thanks for joining. And those listening, I will see you next time.
Awesome.
Right, thanks, Josh.
Thanks, Josh.
Hey, thanks for tuning into this episode of the Retail Initiative Podcast. If you want more free resources, trainings, downloads, you can get those at madebycapital.com/podcast. Again, that's madebycapital.com/podcast. And for those of you that are serious and really want to take the success that you've built in your brick and mortar storefront and you want to create that same level of success online, I invite you to schedule a free call with me, at madebycapital.com/schedule, where we'll dig into your business, like where things are now, where you're wanting to go, getting really clear on your goals, and what are the 2 or 3 things that might be standing in the way of getting there. Now, look, if we're a good fit, I'd love to share what that looks like. And if not, my hope is that you leave with clarity on where to focus for you to reach your goals. So again, thanks for tuning in. And as always, leave a review, make sure you're subscribed, and I cannot wait to see you next time.